Hello everyone, I'm Michael Brown from Montgomery College Television, and I'll be your moderator today for Dr. Pollard's first town hall of the academic year. We're here on the Rockville campus, we're in the Science Center, and Dr. Pollard is really looking forward to hearing from everyone today. As always, if you're close by, why don't you come by and see us? We're in room 152. We'd love to have you here in the room with us. We encourage you to ask questions, to offer opinions, to bring up new points of discussion. And of course, if you are watching online or on MCTV, you can email your question to townhall@montgomerycollege.edu. You can also send it in via Twitter @MontgomeryCall using the hashtag AskDrPollard. And we're going to try to get to as many of your questions as we can during the time we have today. You can help us do that by keeping your questions brief. One last note, whether you're here in the room with us or you're watching online, before you ask your question, please identify yourself. And now, without further ado, here's Dr. Pollard.
Well, thank you all. Welcome to our first town hall meeting for the academic year. Delighted to be here. And certainly as we get ready to start and kick off our 70th anniversary year at Montgomery College. It's pretty impressive, don't you think? 70 years. We've been doing this work, and I think doing it rather exceptionally. To think that we were an organization that started off with 186 students and now find ourselves with over 60,000 students on 3 campuses, 2 educational centers, 3 community engagement. I mean, just amazing to me when you think about the growth of the organization. So I'm delighted to be here, looking forward to a good year. Have, as usual, a couple of introductory comments that I'll offer, and then open it up to the floor. A few people have sent me questions ahead of time, so when I have that, I have the advantage of actually maybe having an answer. And if I don't, I always know who I can call in the room, so y'all are put on notice to help give me the correct answers as we go along. Let me talk off with a couple of things here. One is that I know that we are very excited in the fall semester, because not only do we have national presidential elections going on, we have local elections taking place, and also in the state of Maryland. Just a side caveat to that, I hope that you saw my memo that went out regarding political activity. I say that because it's very important for all of us to remember our responsibility in the place that we are right now. This semester, though, I have the opportunity to be teaching a class on activism and advocacy, working with students, and actually co-teaching it with Beverly Walker Griffey at Mott Community College. So we have 10 students at Montgomery, 10 students at Mott, and we're using distance education, and we're talking about the water crises in DC and Flint, and how you use those as ways to think about community activism and how one becomes engaged in that process. I have to tell you, I get to teach hopefully usually once a year. This class has given me life. These students are absolutely brilliant. They are so engaging, and they're talking about very thoughtful issues, and particularly how to make your voice heard in the public square. So this idea of what we're doing here is an extension of that in some very thoughtful ways. Before I open up the floor for questions, I just want to remind a few people who are in the room, who most of you probably know this, but those of you who are watching us in different locations and see this later, I come to find out they run this later. So I get people in the community who watch MCTV, and they'll call me up and they'll say, hey, I saw you on TV, and they're talking about the town hall meeting. Now, explain to me what that was. I'm like, oh, okay. So it's always a good experience. But the 4 priorities that many of you hopefully have heard me talk extensively about, one is our Achieving the Promise work. Our work at looking at equitable outcomes for all students. Very intentionally, how do we transform? How do we redesign? How do we go into deep inquiry in this space to understand how students experience the organization, but most importantly, how we meet them where they are to get them to where they want to go. We're very excited to watch one component of that as we see our extensive network of programs, whether it be through ATD, our academy, the work that's happening in ACES, where we actually have 1,700 students and are expanding from 11 to 13 schools this year. One powerful work being done, and this is all an extension of this work around Achieving the Promise. In fact, our foundation has committed to raising $13 million of $30 million of our campaign that's needed for ACES scholarships. And then for the first time ever, we have an articulation by our two partners, MCPS and USG, to help raise scholarship dollars for our ACES program. So we are elated about that. We're continuing to do important work in that way to create pathways from our public school system to a baccalaureate degree. That's simply the only goal of that program. Since we're focusing on student success and thinking very deeply about what we have to do to align the organization to do that work, the Spending for Student Success Blue Ribbon Task Force was formed last year. You saw my announcement about that. At this particular point, we're in the midst, and I think a memo's going out tomorrow, Ms. Donna, as it relates to recruiting people to serve on that task force. The committee worked, the leadership worked over, and the leadership includes two other people besides Donna Shenna, faculty member Bruce Madriaga and Antonio Vidal, and WDCE, one of our outstanding staff members, who come on to provide leadership in this space and was very thoughtful about this. They want to keep it to a group that's manageable. That was one of the things they told me. So they're going to go out and put out a solicitation. People will have 4 ways to make it onto this particular task force. One, through governance councils, we will be asking the constituent councils to make nominations. Secondly, by subject area expertise, you may be asked to join this group. You may be asked to join because you're a member of a collective bargaining group and asked to be a part of it. And last but not least, we have a number of people who said, hey, this is something I think I want to do, and I have some expertise and thought about this. Every member who expresses interest will have to apply. We want to make sure we have a very thoughtful process on this, have a very thoughtful group of people. So they're in the process of putting a memo out tomorrow. Is it me or you? I know I read the memo.
It's from the 3 of us out of your office.
Oh, very. In other words, I'm sending it, but somebody else wrote it. So there we go. So we're very excited about that. I did read it, though, so I think they're doing some good work in that space. In addition to that, besides looking at institutional efficiencies and effectiveness, we're really going to be thinking very deeply about how we can maximize the resources that we expend on different initiatives for student success. I'm talking about real programs. How do we start to take them to scale? How do we think deeply about, is this really working? And if it's not, how do we rework it? How do we stop it? Arithmetic of subtraction, true, right? So we have to remember that as well. Things like our open educational resources. I heard somebody tweeted it out during the day when they had the open session here. About 40 faculty came to the session to look at how they can look at using OERs. I think that's quite exciting because not only is it going to have contemporary and relevant state-of-the-art material in front of faculty and students, but it also helps reduce the cost for many of our students. So very excited by that. Looking forward to seeing the work that comes from that. The other thing that's probably most important about this efficiency conversation is business sustainability for the organization. And you all have heard me talk about this, and I'm going to keep talking about it. Matter of fact, I was talking with the PEC this morning about it. I said, how do we get resonance around this conversation? And the most important thing that they said is you have to keep talking about it. We're very good at Montgomery College of talking about something once and then thinking everybody remembers it. So one of the things you're going to probably hear me say in everything that I come out, equitable outcomes for students. You're going to hear that a lot. You're going to hear about data and technology. You're going to hear about business sustainability. There are some real world problems that are affecting not only us. And here's the thing that's interesting. A lot of folks think that we're just talking about this being a Montgomery College issue. This is a national issue. Someone just forwarded to me articles today where we have had colleges that are closing across the country. We're seeing consolidation of colleges across the country. So the reality about this is not just something that's happening at Montgomery College, but the landscape is changing so rapidly that we're having a hard time getting our head around it, but we're going to have to. All right? People are asking us. Our Middle States accreditation, they've added a compliance report. We're in the midst of completing that. In addition to that, this year we found out that the Office of Legislative Oversight, which is the county arm of research, has said we want to look at metrics by which we help to understand and interpret the work of Montgomery College. I'm going to let that sit there for a minute, right? So it ain't going away. This is something that's a part of what we do. And I have to tell you, it's going to be a little uncomfortable because it's going to ask us to ask hard questions, and some of us are going to have to come up with better answers than we've had thus far. So we're challenging ourselves to be doing that work. The last thing I'll say about this is that all of these conversations have to happen in a space of civility. I am struck that, many of you have heard me say this, I get copied on a lot of emails. Sometimes they're copied intentionally because they want to let somebody else know that they told this to me or that they want me to be a part of the conversation. A good number of them are blind copied to me. And then I get a lot of email from people who send messages that say, hey, is this how we should talk to each other? So I think we have to own the fact that we have to be vulnerable and will be during this process. There are going to be moments we're going to get to celebrate the things that we're doing really, really well. And they're going to have opportunities to have difficult conversations about the things we need to transform or change. All of that is a part of that and be engaged in the conversation together. So those are my introductory comments. I'm looking forward to today's town hall meeting. And I kept that to 5 minutes this time. I just want you to know. I need some on that. All right, it's on you now.
All right, we have a question from here in the room. If you would stand up for me.
Hi, my name is Matt Ratz, adjunct faculty in the Department of English. Not really a question, more just something to share with you. You had sent an email earlier this semester about the correlation between student engagement and student success. So in addition to my work here, I also work with at-risk Hispanic youth in middle school in Montgomery County. And last semester, I organized a field trip where I brought 20 students, many of whose parents are undocumented immigrants, here to MC. And I had student volunteers come speak with them one-on-one and encourage them to persist in education, to set goals for themselves. And I found, this was an English 101 class, the students who volunteered felt so much more connected to the work that they were doing, felt so much greater purpose. So I applaud you on your class on activism, and I just wanted to share that story with you.
Matt, thank you so much. Not only do you have a wonderful beard, I had commented to him about that earlier, but this idea of more deeply connecting the students to this work, I think is, it can be transformative to them. It's actually, we actually have had a lot of research that's been done on that. Our students, we have a group of students at the Tacoma Park Silver Spring campus through Student Life and some other folks who are actually volunteering in high schools of underserved and underrepresented students in higher education and have almost like a big brother, big sister relationship with them. And what we found, not only did it help those students and their families, which if we really want to have a two-generation solution to poverty, we have to talk about the children and their parents. But here's the thing that I thought was very powerful. Those students who were enrolled in that program from Montgomery College had better grades, they persisted better, and we retained them. There's something in that mix about the fact of actually helping. I look at my own son's school where they actually every year have the 5th graders adopt the 2nd graders or 1st graders, and they spend time together with them, and the 1st graders or whatever grade have to go and read to them. So it was last year, so it had been 2nd grade, had to go and read to the older kids. And you would think this was like the best, because all the 5th graders thought, I'm going to help them. But it built that sense of relationship, that sense of ownership for what's happening in our schools. So thank you, and I celebrate that, and I hope that we see more of that happening. Thank you, Matt.
All right, we have an online question, actually 2 online questions.
All right.
Both of them from Karen Smith, who is an adult student with a day job.
Okay.
And her first question is, why are none of the American Sign Language classes offered online or during the summer months?
Karen asked this question online, so I actually got an answer. Our wonderful dean, Dr. Fector, was able to give me an answer. And what we found out is that we currently offer 6 sections of American Sign Language at night and on weekends. Actually, this past summer, 4 ASL classes were offered and 3 of the 4 ran. So that's an important correction to the facts there. In terms of online education, though, this particular discipline would be very difficult to do in that space. Everyone has to be able to see everyone else. An online environment does not provide the approach in an in-class environment for the production of receptive and productive skills, as well as for visual and gesture understanding. So while we want to encourage lots of spaces for online course development, online degrees, we've actually, I think, now have 4 online degrees. The reality about this is that every discipline and every course may not be able to be taught in that space. But thank you, Karen, for that question.
And then her follow-up was, how will I ever complete my degree if the classes I need are not offered online and only offered during the day? You offer plenty of non-credit and continuing ed classes online and after work, but not the degree programs.
So I think I responded to that in my last answer, but what I will also offer to her is that one of the things that I do know that our deans and academic affairs are spending a lot of time doing are looking at the schedule. And I'll say this to them, I haven't come to visit them yet for this fall, but one of the things that's really critical about this is how we look at designing schedules that are responsive to the needs and interests of students and our stakeholders, and not necessarily the ones that we think we need as employees of the organization. And that's a very important thing for us to think about. One of the other questions that came in talked about adult students who are coming in the evenings and they need to access financial aid, or they need to come in on weekends. I had a community member catch me the other day, and she gave me a long story about the fact that she has a student who's in high school right now who plans to come to Montgomery College, but she's in class all day from 8 to whatever time she gets out, 3. Then she goes and works second shift at Walmart from 3 until 11. This is every day. But she can't figure out how she's going to get here to handle the materials that she has to bring in to the institution because the college isn't open at midnight, which she doesn't expect, but there aren't very few ever weekend hours to allow her to do that work. So I think a lot about that, about how do we really think about those types of students, because more and more of our students are working full-time, attending school part-time, and have schedules that don't allow them to be here during those peak periods. I know we've done a lot of adjustment. When you look at the online course delivery, when you look at office hours that people are extending to the evening, online, all of that's great, but I think there's a growing portion of our community that we're going to have to be more responsive to. So thank you, Karen, for the question.
All right, we have a question here in the front row.
I'm Darren Campen. I'm the Dean of Education and Social Sciences, which includes criminal justice. This morning I was looking at Inside MC and I saw this great event for next week, the Community Police and Community Forum, and I was very excited about that. I don't know, we've had a lot of news lately about shootings, and I don't want to get you too riled up, but if you could talk a little bit about this forum, that would be great.
Yeah, thank you, Dean Campen. So what I will say is I'm a member of a historically black sorority, Zeta Phi Beta, Sorority Incorporated, and 3 of the, that's right, Z5, you know, our 3, I was waiting for a callback, I was hoping. This is my fraternity brother, the blue and white. I should have been, that said go mob, you'd have been right there, I see. But anyway, sorry. And the 3 local chapters of the DMV are hosting this session. It was interesting. I was sharing with someone earlier, when I thought that I was going to do this, it was a very different context, right? I agreed to do this a month or so ago and had really thought in my head about how I was going to approach this, and because I'm really the facilitator. I'm supposed to keep the panelists speaking, a police officer, a community activist, a member from NAACP, and someone from the Human Rights Council here in Montgomery County. So I was kind of preparing these questions and have been working on that with some folks. And then this weekend happened, right? In the last couple of days. So I'm struggling. I got to say, it's going to be a struggle for me, and I got to think about how to walk into this space, because I think a lot of my close personal friends, because I try and make sure I know I wear multiple hats. So my close personal friends know I have a very definitive position on some of these issues. And I think also, many of you would know here, we've talked about, the bigger thing for me kind of goes back to the start of the conversation earlier. How do we talk about this? Right? We have to have a substantive conversation. So we can have substantive conversations about people kneeling, and we also have to have substantive conversations about people dying. And you got to be able to have them in ways that mean something in people's lives. So I'm working on that. Obviously, you say I have to remain calm before I go into them. And how to do it with fairness. I mean, that's the part that's important. No one in this whole conversation can be damned. Everybody plays a role. When there's a community problem, we all play a role in that. So let's come up with community solutions. So that's the angle I'm trying to get to. Thank you.
All right, we have another question in the audience. If you could stand, please.
Yes, sir. Amanda Stroud, library assistant from Germantown. Okay, we are switching to a market-based pay system using field and industry standards. I'm reading this without my glasses.
That's all right.
Okay.
I'm impressed.
Thank you. So the average hourly rate for a security guard is $10.49 an hour up to $14.50 an hour. Just looked this up. Our security guards make $19.95 to $34.04. So how are we going to handle that? If the if the industry standard is unfortunately a low $11 an hour and ours start out at $19.95, how are we going to handle that?
And that's part of what, thank you, Amanda, for the question. That's part of what we're trying to figure out in this particular period of time right now. One of the things we realize is that, to be quite frank, I think many of us didn't think that we were too far off the market, right? So we said, hey, let's go out there, let's do this market. We brought this consultant in, helped us come up with a compensation philosophy, helped us think about how to approach this work, came up, and all of a sudden, we started to realize, wait a minute, there are some real imbalances in terms of what we thought what we were doing versus what the market really bears, and then also the shifts that have occurred over time. So one of the things that we heard very clearly, Dr. Warmack called me up and she said, Darian, she said, here's something that's important. We need to slow this down because what we recognize is that there's a lot of stuff going on in this space and we need to go out and do some work. She said the other thing very clearly to me is that we need to make sure that people don't freak out and think that there's something going to happen to them. We're not trying to affect anyone. So the example, and I know this is actually a very sensitive issue because I've had a number of our campus safety officers talk to me about this, both formally and informally. The intent is not to get rid of and no plans for that, be very clear. Catch on the record, no plans for any changes in campus safety in terms of officers. If anything, we need more of them on campus. So let's be very clear about that. But we have to have a conversation about how we reconcile that. And that's what we're spending this year on. Mr. Roop and others are going to actually be looking at this conversation. How do we reconcile that? How do we hold harmless the people who are currently in these positions? But how do we design something that goes forward that's going to be sustainable? Because your example is an interesting one. We know we need more security guards on campus. We know that we have an ever and growing environment in which there needs to be greater security presence for any number of different reasons. How do we make sure that we have the presence that we need while at the same time having business practices that allow us to be able to pay everybody? Anybody have any idea how much our salary increases cost this year? Come on, somebody. Guess.
10 million.
You cheated. 10 million. I know, he was at the PEC meeting this morning. All right, that ain't right. Our salary, so people, this is interesting. I know. Our compensation this year, our increases cost us $10 million. 10 million, that's just increases. So we have to have a very thoughtful conversation. This goes back to my efficiency thing up earlier. We're not going to be able to continue to have, the county's going to say, we love you. And we've been doing everything we can for you, and they're going to have Dr. Warmack come in and have lots of meetings with them already, and they're going to call me in and have lots of conversations with me, and they're going to say at the end of the day, you got to come up with some different strategies around this. So the long answer to your question is I don't know. The short answer is that's what we're working on this year, and I'm very aware, but we want to hold people harmless, and we also want to create something that's sustainable. The last thing I'll say to this, and just so y'all know, this isn't just Darien having these conversations. This is a conversation at every community college in the country. Dare I say, matter of fact, I know it's every 4 year. AGB, the Association of Governing Boards, puts out 10 top issues that boards need to be talking about. Number one in that list this year, business process sustainability. So this isn't something that's new. It's something we're going to have to think about, and we have to have real, honest, vulnerable conversations about what the impact of that's going to be. Just like we had to have it last year, and the county council said, hey, we're going to give you something, but we can't give you everything. As a matter of fact, this is specifically what we're not going to give you. I called folks in, and we had a good conversation about that. So these are the things we're going to have to figure out how to respond to. Thank you, Amanda. I always love your voice,
We have
too.
another question from here in the room.
Hi, Maria Adams Davidson. So I actually have a follow-up question. It's kind of the second part to the question that was just asked, in the sense of the work that's being done to look at the compensation strategy. What is the plan for communication to employees about the next steps, including where their individual positions may fall, and what is the timeline for getting that information out to employees, and what kind of feedback will employees have in that process?
So I'll answer one, and then I'm going to ask Dr. Warmack or Mr. Rupp. You all can decide which one of you all wants to answer the question. The first, the first part of the question is that one of the things that Janet and I talked in, at the end of last year, we said, how do we enhance some communication efforts about all the things that are happening in her area? Because all the hot topics at the college have moved from academic affairs and student services to administrative and fiscal services. I know, we're so thoughtful, aren't we? But what's very interesting about that is how do we ensure more effective communication other than, she said, and I said to her, well, I know that you go and visit this group, you have this, what can we do? So she put together, and we'll be doing, is it quarterly? Yes. Quarterly AFS updates that have this information in there. And there's going to be a series of sessions that go before that. But I'll let you speak more wholly to that, Dr. Wormack.
I guess not.
No, you good.
So my team, thank you, Mr. Roop, and the HR STEM team in the current fiscal update have provided the whole plan for this year about all the communications that are going to take place in terms of our compensation planning. So we've got to go out and have some focus group roundtables this year. We also have to work with our consultant on developing what does that compensation scale look like, and what's the impact of that scale against market, against what we're currently at, and of course against what our other colleagues are paying in the area. So there are going to be many, many conversations around that in our small groups, in our units. There's a whole series of conversations that will take place. So,
And when is that schedule coming out? 'Cause that's the
so the
next part.
schedule came out in the fiscal update. So
Okay.
if you saw the HR STEM fiscal update, they kind of laid out the big chunks, the big milestone pieces. So it starts next month. And it goes into next year. Effectively, July 1, 2018, the new classification compensation program will go into effect. Aligned with what we have to do in terms of all the conversations, we also have to update our HR STEM policies and procedures. So that's going along as well as the conversations that take place with you. So there's going to be lots of communications. The recruitment team, the records team, the classification team are going to go out and do a series of conversations with all units. It has to be done, whether it's big forums like this or whether it's one-on-one forums, with small units or large units or however that may be. But there will be lots of conversations around this and many, many, many meetings.
So here's the thing I'll ask you, Maria, in the next town meeting in December, if you are hearing there's insufficient numbers of those, or anyone, let me know in this space, and we will find out how that's going. Thank you.
All right, we're going to take another online question, and then we'll come back to the room. This one is from Youssef, and I apologize for my pronunciation of this last
sent
name,
this one
Hali. Do you support making non-credit classes, developmental classes, an option instead of being required? Because many people think it's a waste of time and money. Also, what are you doing to make college affordable? There's a lot there.
Don't you love that? Don't you just love that the tag on questions at the end? It's like world peace and apple pie, right? So the first question, I can't say that I support that holistically. What I do think is that we have to have a substantive conversation about what levels of developmental education there can be and how we begin to think of students who are in the highest level of developmental education. Can they also enroll in credit courses while they're doing that? I think that to be a good idea and something we should explore. And actually, we've piloted that this year. And I know in mathematics we've done that, and in English as well. So I know that there's work to be done in psychology. So I know there's work in that. And I think there's overwhelming literature that's coming out of groups like the Lumina Foundation, ATD, and others that suggests that this helps a student toward completion. They are learning within a context. They're able to feel that they're making degree progress. If they have to take, 15 credit hours or more of developmental education, many of them could feel disconnected to what's happening in their academic career towards completion. So that I think there's a substantive conversation that has to be done with that. So I can't say I support that, because I also know that we have growing numbers of students who come to Montgomery College needing developmental education. We know that about 60% of the students who come to Montgomery College need remediation in mathematics. About 30% need that same remediation in English and writing. So the idea that there's a need out there. We also know that a lot of our students come to us with confidence issues, that they want to be able to spend time in a safe environment in developmental education. So I think there are multiple pathways that we need to be exploring. Can we have accelerated developmental education? Yes. Do we have it? Yes. And should we be doing more of it? Yes. At the same time, I think we have to recognize that there are is a changing environment that's happening right now. So how can we work with our K-12 system to ensure that our students are coming to us more prepared? How do we work with returning adults so they understand that the test that you come in here to take and be placed as a high-stakes test, and it's something that can help set your academic career for the rest of the time that you are in college? Those are important conversations as well. Now, I think for me, this question, the big one at the end, what am I doing to help reduce what was the cost of education?
Yes, what
How
are you doing to reduce the overall cost of college education?
Yeah, this is a struggle because, and this goes back to this whole question about our spending for success, our task force that we're having. This is part of the conversation that has to happen. We've got to figure out how to help students move successfully and more swiftly through an academic program of study. We have to provide them with the support structures they need to help them be able to do that. And we also have to do it in a space where recognize that there are diverse needs and experiences of students as they do that. So all of that has to figure into that decision. For me, I think the biggest way that I can affect overall college affordability is to affect what we spend at the institution. My sister's a banker. You know, at the end of the day, when we used to have conversations about money, she said, there's only two ways of dealing with this problem, sissy. And I'd say, what? She said, you got to spend less or you got to bring in more money. That's really it. It's basic math. I know in accountants here, I know there's a whole lot more going on in that. But at the end of the day, if we want to make things more affordable, we have to spend less. And spend less and bring in more revenue. So that's a part of the conversation that goes with that. The last thing I'll say here is that we also, though, are trying to affect affordability by looking at some very innovative and entrepreneurial things. So I've told people, and I'll say this, I know I saw it here somewhere, my interest is not going out and chasing enrollment. I don't want us going out and finding, checking every corner and every crevice in the community to try to find. If people want to come, let's make that happen. What I'm most interested in is keeping the ones we have. Right? Just keep the students we have. That to me is our retention plan, keeping the ones we have. So I heard, and I'll end on this, I heard Karen Stout, our coach for ATD, they'd done a series of focus groups with students, and they were using this word retention and talking about how do we keep you here from semester to semester and from year to year to get you to degree completion. And the student raised their hand and said, retention for me is tomorrow. That's something? So this idea of thinking about how I actually will get to school tomorrow, I had one of my students who I'm mentoring, I asked him, I sent him a text, where are you at this fall? He tells me he can't he can't get to school. Transportation is his issue. So there's a real substantive conversation. Let's work on keeping the ones we have. If I can do that and keep the expenses down, figure out new revenue sources like our PIC-MC, the work we're doing at WDCE, the grants that we're having, all of those things will hopefully, if not reduce, hopefully not raise the cost of education. Thank you for the question.
All right, we have another question from the room.
Yes, my name is David Newman. I'm with the Part-Time Faculty Union. And I have a question. Is it possible for the college to provide additional pre-semester tutoring for students that are coming into the college? I think that one of the things that we need to provide is some form of remedial education before they even start at the college, so like 2 weeks before college, before the semester begins. And I feel, I personally feel that the college relies a lot on part-time faculty. And I feel the part-time faculty would greatly appreciate the opportunity to do more tutoring before the semester begins. My other question to you is, and I brought this up with a number of people at the college, is the part-time faculty have been paid this year on September 23rd, this Friday. This is 4 weeks past the beginning of the semester, and it's even longer since the beginning of the opening ceremony. So I feel somehow the college needs to look forward to somehow not doing this in the future. Last year it was 3 weeks in the fall. This year it's 4 weeks. So I'm hoping that one of the determining goals of the new workday system in the college will be to permit part-time faculty to be paid much sooner at the beginning of the semester.
Thank you, David, for that. And I'll start with your second question. I was unaware of the 4 weeks, so thank you for bringing that to my attention. And I'm disappointed that this is the first time I'm hearing about it, so thank you for that. And I will make a commitment that we will put that as a priority to have a conversation about. My understanding that I know it has in the previous years has fallen between pay periods and so forth, but let me go and understand that better. And I think that you are making a very compelling case, and I'm happy to go back and look at that. The second issue, or the first issue that you raised, I think is a critical one. I am more and more convinced, and I saw this in my own academic experience. I graduated from a gifted high school. There was an early, it was a college prep. It was preparing us to go to college. So in theory, when I graduated June 24th, 1988, I should have been prepared to step on the grounds of Iowa State University in August. What was very interesting about that is that they had done all this massive recruitment of these students to bring us to Ames, Iowa, to help us become acculturated, wanted us to help expand the diversity of the campus. They went to these large urban areas. But what they recognize is that that process of academic preparation and acculturation was something that was really critical to our success. So they actually had a summer program where and it was a residence program. We came in for 6 weeks or something, and that was very different. But I am more and more convinced that as community colleges, if there are things that we can be doing to help do that up front, can we be doing some work to say, we used to call them, I did one when I was in College Lake County, a boot camp. Have students come in before you take the AccuPlace or before you come in, because a lot of our students has been so long since they've been in class. A lot of times they've forgotten what they need to know and don't know what they forgot. So there's a whole process that goes into that. That sounds to me like a really great innovation grant. Somebody should write an innovation grant, of which a part-time faculty member can do, and to get some resources to try to pilot that and see if there's something that can be done in that space. Great idea.
Okay, we have another question from Yusef.
All right, Yusef, you on a roll, dude.
He is on a roll. Why is the college funding fewer parking enforcement jobs, and are you okay with eliminating parking permits and letting students park anywhere they want?
So to the last question, no. Let me be very clear about that. Parking is the #1 issue after food service that I hear from students about. So I understand that parking is significant. We do not have enough parking spaces, particularly in the Rockville campus, to support the number of students we have. This campus, which currently has between 15,000 to 16,000 credit students on it, was designed to serve how many? 8,000 students. So as a result of that, parking is the issue. We are building a new garage, so the intention is the fact that we'll be able to have more spaces for students, but we will still be at a parking deficit. Letting students park anywhere they want is not an option because we also have to have space for the faculty, have to be in the classroom teaching. So unfortunately, I understand that folks, if you go to Target or Walmart, everybody can park wherever they need to park, and you have to do that. That's not how we have to do it here because we got classes that start at 9 o'clock. I need a faculty member to be there, and I have to be there to teach that class at that time. Now, the other part about the question about the parking, I don't know that we have hired less parking attendants. We haven't. I didn't think so. So I hadn't heard that one, but Yusef, come on, keep it coming. You good.
All right, we have another question here. If you could stand, please.
So my name is Linda, and I have a question concerning the review sessions for students. Most of the review sessions are during class periods, like at 11, 12. Is there a way they can change it to the evening or over the weekends in order for more students to have the opportunity to attend?
Review sessions for what?
For biology and maths.
I'm very happy to do that. I know the provost of that area is sitting 2 rows in front of you, so I asked her to do some work on that. Thank you for that.
Okay, we'll go to another online question. This one is from
Yusef?
Laura White.
Oh, okay.
No, I think we're out of Yusef questions. Come on. Is the college in the process of developing a position of Chief Diversity Officer? Such a position would coordinate the many activities at MC that foster diversity awareness, inclusion, and reduce obstacles to people reaching their full potential. This is a very long question. I'm going to try to, I haven't seen this one before, so I'm going to try to condense it. If so, will the position include developing a broadly representative diversity council? If such a position is not in the works, is the president ready to lead an MC diversity council to bring coherence to the college's efforts, address gaps, clarify policies, and strengthen institutional cultural competence?
So the short answer to Laura's question is yes, yes, and yes. So a couple things in that. Last spring, the Board of Trustees and I spent quite a bit of time talking about the issues that are happening nationally as it relates to higher education in the space of diversity and multiculturalism. And I, at that point, had made a decision to reassign. So please note that, everybody who wants to go back and make sure I'm reassigning an administrative position to craft a Chief Equity and Inclusion Officer. The college, as Laura, I don't know, mentioned, it did have a Chief Diversity Officer some time ago. We redesigned that work and are in the process right now of getting a job description done to send this out. And I'm intentionally not calling it a Chief Diversity Officer because I think we are a diverse institution. 72% of our students are non-white. Our employees represent that at a lesser rate, but we are indeed a very diverse organization. We touted the number of countries our students represent. We can go on and on. What's more important to me is issues of equity and inclusion. All of our diverse students and employees, when they come onto this campus, are they having experiences where they feel that they are not only being treated fairly, but they also have an environment where they thrive? Do we have curriculum that allows folks to be able to do this, and how do we make them know that? How do we train people in such a way that they're able to be very thoughtful about this work and to be very deliberate in their interactions with students and colleagues and people who visit us on the institution? How do we document, assess all the types of things that we do and make sure that they're making an impact in the student experience here? So for me, I'm not interested in just, and have intentionally not called this a Chief Diversity Officer. I'm much more about equity and outcomes, and also at the same time thinking about inclusion as a way of thinking about how we do this work. I just saw Julie, made me think, the Ombuds for several years has talked about, and we actually just did an update on this, and not to foreshadow your report, but we have some growing areas of continued concern, and they've called this out 2 years in a row about certain populations of employees at the organization who describe experiences that are not types of experiences that we want people to have as employees of the college. So we're going to be spending a lot more time doing that. We'll go out hopefully for recruitment for this position before the end of the year and go forward. So in part of this, they will develop a work plan, Laura, where they will be spending time developing an agenda for the work, spending a lot of time thinking about training development, and obviously, as you described as well, how to engage the college community in this work. Thank you, Laura.
Okay, we're going to go back to an online question. This is from Ludovine Leopold.
Okay.
And again, I apologize. I'm sure I butchered that. I'm a deaf student on the Germantown campus. I'm wondering why we don't have an open gym here at the gymnasium on the Germantown campus. Thank you for your time.
Well, thank you so much, and because of your question, you did send it online. These are all some of the responses I get, and then I have all my prep work just in case for the questions that might get asked. We found out that there is indeed open gym hours on the Germantown campus. Provost Latimer, I know you wrote it on here. Somebody wrote it for me, and I just lost the page. Oh, wait a minute, I see it. Germantown now has open gym hours Monday through Friday, 3:30 to 5:30 p.m. I had an answer. Thank you.
Okay. Going to go down to another online question. This is from Uni Leroy. It's a pretty long question. It's basically about the cafeteria at Rockville, and she's concerned about the layout, that it's very congested, that
Too crowded.
too
disorderly,
crowded, the tables and chairs, there's no order,
Cleanliness.
cleanliness,
Gotcha.
that type. Nothing about prices this
No.
time.
He put it out in the universe, right? This time. So, I know, follow-up question, yeah. I'll come to that. But actually, let me deal with all of that together, prices included. So when I saw Uni's question, I actually have to say I concurred with that. I was on the Rockville campus a couple weeks ago or a week ago, and I decided, let me pick up lunch while I'm over here instead of having to go out and get it. So I walked in, and I said, I'm going to sit here and eat it. You know, might as well sit and talk with the students and enjoy it. It's a fun thing for me to do. We have a good time, which is there's a whole subculture in the cafeteria that I didn't understand. I think an anthropology class could have a great time studying the cafeteria because you got the fantasy gamers over here, you got the b-boys over here. I mean, it was real fun to watch. That being said, I had that same feeling because I got my food. I said, let me just walk over, and I walk in, and I'm like, whoa, where do I go? You know, you kind of have, then I said, well, I started making my way through the little tables to get to a spot. Finally, I said, oh, there's one over here. I found a spot. I get there, the table's dirty, and I was with some people. So I said, well, let's grab some chairs, and we kind of do this. And after a while, I thought, I wonder what this feels like for students, right? So I get your point, Uni, and I think that we are on the process of looking at something. One, we have a consultant who's actually on campus this week and this week with us, who's actually looking at and helping us look at all of our food service program, both in terms of the food and delivery, but also the spaces that we have for students. So that consultant's on here and be giving us some recommendations because I think we know we need some improvements in terms of cost and price, effectiveness, management of our contract, quality, but also the experience of students when they walk into those spaces and employees as well. So I'm with you, Uni. I feel you. And I hope it's something that we'll be able to have some recommendations about how to address in the very near future. Anything else I should have said on that? No. All right, thank you.
Okay, another online question. This is from Janice Bellamy. It's a long one. I haven't seen it.
Let me see if I saw it.
She's been a student here since 1999, taking 1 or 2 courses a semester. She is a breast cancer survivor. She's taking her last class before she graduates in May.
Yay, Janice.
And she wants to bring her attention to an individual that helped her here at MC. Her name is Amanda McIntosh.
Yeah.
She counseled and supported the older population. However, she's no longer with the college. She left to raise a family. I hope that the position of advisor and counselor for adult learners at MC will remain at the college and that a search can be started. I know that myself and other adult learners and those to follow would like the guidance of someone like her.
Thank you. First of all, I think one of the best parts of my job, and it probably happens 2 or 3 times a week, when I get unsolicited notes from students and they talk about the phenomenal interactions they have with employees across the organization, staff, faculty, volunteers. I mean, it's just amazing to hear that. Administrators who step in the space for them. And that's the best part of the job, because there's these unsolicited testimonials that reaffirm why we do this work. So thank you, Jan, for sharing that, and and congratulations to you as you reach graduation. I'm just excited for you. I need to go and find out where we are in the replacement of that and find out where we are at that position. I have no doubt that it's an important one. We have a number of adult students who come to our organization who are in the midst of navigating it and doing all types of things. So I'm very grateful to that. And I don't know if anybody knows anything about that. Oh, it's actually in the work. It's in the process of being hired now. So thank you very, very much. That's a great testimonial.
All right, another online question from Dana G. Jones. This one relates to WD and CE, talking about the ITT Tech closing. And she's been challenged to understand why MC does not have a credible Microsoft Office Suite diploma or certificate program. And then she goes on to talk about that. She's looking for that type of program to help the workforce.
Well, this is great. I think, Dana, thank you for raising that question, and I hope that you can find you and about a dozen other students who are interested in taking the class. Seriously, the WDCE classes are delivered based on demand, and they're delivered in a way to make it accessible to students who have that interest. My understanding is that we haven't had interest, so while we may offer some courses that may lead to certain types of things, we don't offer the full certification. So I would encourage you to contact our WDC area, let them know it's of interest, and everybody else who has interest in it, have them call in, because that's particularly an area of the college that can be responsive immediately. You say you have an interest, they find an instructor, we get enough people to let it go and run and make a profit, bam, there you go. So thank you for the question.
All right, another online question. This is from Joseph Williams. Can you give me an update on the Blue Ribbon Task Force on spending for success?
Yes, is it Joe, you said? Joe?
Joseph, yes.
Joseph, thank you for that. I talked about it at the top of the hour. Thank you for tuning in, though. We actually have a memo that's going out tomorrow where people will be able to apply to be on the task force. They will come from 4 areas of the college: governance, collective bargaining, subject area expertise, and simply people, those who are interested. The co-chairs of the group have tasked me to keep it small. Because they don't want to have 50 people in a room to have substantive conversation. They want to have the best people who have the best interest in this and who also have the ability to carry a message out to the college community. So that memo is going out tomorrow. I hope that you and others may express interest in being a part of it. Any in the room? Ooh, all right.
Okay, we have another question here. This one is from Daniel Russell. He says, I keep hearing about open educational resources. How many classes are using them, and why are they important?
Well, thank you, Daniel. A couple things I'll say with you. Open educational resources, we actually have about 100 sections of courses that are being delivered using OERs. Open educational resources are instructional materials that are able to be garnered in the open market, particularly in an open technology arena online, and used in classrooms to replace textbooks that a student would have to purchase. So as a result of that, these materials tend to be more relevant because they're more current, and they also are less expensive or free for students and help reduce the total cost of instruction, going to a question that was asked earlier. My understanding, we have about 100 sections this semester that are using some form of OERs. We received a grant from the Achieving the Dream that will allow us to have a group of faculty work over the next 3 years to move, to create a pathway through our general studies degree to become completely delivered through OERs. So it's quite exciting. I'm actually teaching my class, I call it the water class here, using OERs, and I'm also teaching a class for UMUC. A significant portion of it is using OER. So it requires a little bit of work from me up front to find it, to make sure it fits, and to evaluate it. But at the end of the day, it has a great opportunity for students to help reduce the total cost and also bring most relevant and timely current materials to the classroom.
All right, I have a question here from John A. Warner, and he wants to know, what is the college asking for in terms of capital funding this year?
Well, John A. Warner, we have going to the board this month, as a matter of fact. The board will hear the first reading of our capital budget. It is in excess of probably a total of $38 million of requests, but we have 3 areas of significant import and priority for us. One is the science building at the Tacoma Park Silver Spring campus. Secondly would be the construction money for the Rockville Student Services building. And third would be the SA building at the Germantown campus that will allow us to complete that extension there. So those are our top 3 priorities. And it's imperative. We have a campus, and particularly all 3 of our campuses reflect a rapidly growing student population, and they needs to be reflective of the quality instruction that we have in our facilities, need to help support that. We have outstanding faculty who are doing amazing work. We have support folks who are just working, and sometimes our facilities are not working with them. And this is important for us to be able to have these facilities to create, I think, the best learning environment for our students. So those are our 3 priorities this year. The board will hear first reading recommendations of that this month, and they will take action in November to be forwarded to the county executive.
All right, I have a question here from Alyssa Henley.
All right.
And her question is, can you talk about public safety at MC? There are too many bad things happening in the news.
So I have to say, I think that we are in a very interesting time in our country. I think that we have sometimes forgotten or lost the ability of how to talk to each other. We have a growing opiate addiction problem in this country, and all of these things coming together with many more are creating sometimes unsafe environments that we all live, work, and learn in. So at Montgomery College, though, I have to say, as someone who gets regular security briefings about what's happening in our on all of our campuses and locations, there are exceptions to everything, but we have a very an exceptional public safety team that thinks deeply about this. They contribute to the lifeblood of the institution to keep us safe. I think that we actually in pretty good stead. Do we have opportunities for improvement? No doubt. Every place I know of has that. Do we need to do more to prepare for some type of calamity action that will happen? Yes. And you know, as I said, will happen. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. The nature of an open campus institution, as large as we are, where we are, it's a matter of time before something happens, given that environment that I talked about a moment ago. But I have great confidence in our people. They think deeply about how to keep a safe environment. They ask good questions. They are taking that responsibility, recognizing the environment is changing. And I think we have a good opportunity to do more, but I also think that we feel fairly safe. Now, the other thing I will tell you, and Sean has actually beat me in the head about this, not literally, but we also take greater responsibility for our own safety. I'm amazed at the number of people who just leave stuff sitting around. You know, the number of us who don't pay attention. 'Cause, oh, here's my worst one. Now, I don't know about y'all, but I grew up in Chicago, right? You walk down the street, you look people in the eye when you're walking past them. You don't let somebody see you tapping your head down. And I think we forget that we're on a college campus. We can just, say, hey, just all, and run into people, walk off the sidewalks or whatever, get killed. You see people walking off in front of things. That doggone Pokemon, I'm not going to go there. Right? But the reality about that, so as much as the college will do everything we can to keep people safe when they're here and take great responsibility for that, because we have excellent public safety officers, on the converse of that, we got to take care of our own selves a little bit more. So put the phone down when you walk into your car. Have your keys in your hand before you walk out there, or fob it, or whatever it is you got to do. Be aware of your surroundings when you're doing these things. Don't be the last one to leave a building if you can. Walk out with some people. The basics. It's like the Smokey Bear type of stuff. It's basic, right? Just start doing it and stop. We live in suburbia, but this ain't Pleasantville. We got to be kind of thoughtful about that and take responsibility for ourselves and ask for help if we need that help. So, yeah, that's enough. I got on the roll there, didn't I? Sorry.
All right, it looks like we have time for maybe one more question. This one comes from Susan Miller.
All right.
And she wants to know what is going on with the new building purchase.
Oh, good. Thank you, Susan Miller, for that question. Thanks to the Montgomery College Foundation, we did secure a new facility. Has been purchased. The building is in Rockville, 9221 Corporate Boulevard in Rockville. It is a wonderful facility that will allow us to bring all the spaces that we're renting, nearly all of the spaces that we were renting, into one space, and then also allow us to free up the Manatee building to relocate programs and services that were on all 3 campuses into Manatee to help free up space for additional classrooms and other usage on the campuses. Now here, earlier I talked about smart business decisions. Here's a smart business decision. Over the course of this, by the time we pay off this building, we will have saved how much money? $40 million for the institution. 40 million, lots of zeros behind it, right? So here's the reality. That was a decision. People are like, well, why'd you do that? Because we were leasing 40 West Goody in a market that is stupid to be leasing, right? So we're leasing 40 West Goody, we're leasing where OITB is, and we were paying other people money, and we had people in Manatee. It made absolutely no sense. So we had our foundation who kind of told us, this isn't smart, and we're smart enough to figure this out for you. Let us do it. So we closed on the building in July. They started construction in August, literally, and knocking down walls as we speak. They're clearing out the insides, doing their things, and the first group of people will likely start moving in February. February.
All right, Dr. Pollard, thank you very much, and we want to thank everybody for participating in today's town hall. Let's hear it for Dr. Pollard. And I would encourage everyone to keep an eye on the President's Corner Monday message and also Inside MC Online for information about our next town hall. It's scheduled for November. And until then, you can keep up with everything that's happening at Montgomery College and also on Montgomery College Television by following us on social media.